See, it's getting darker and darker, and there's just no way right now for these drivers to know exactly what's going to happen.
These guys are going to have to be really, really careful and tiptoe around the track until it's either stopped.
Not even 10 minutes into this race, and I feel like we've got enough strategy going on for a whole event, but still a long, long way to go.
There's Yellowstone, there's Yosemite, but for racing fans and for Grid Life's Elkhart Classic, the destination is Road America, the National Park of Speed.
Free ride in the front of the field here. Look at Emil Tab up the inside for the race lead. We head down to the first corner.
These guys have no idea what they're coming into. Look at this field. They're 2 wide, 3 wide, a couple places slipping.
Side by side for the race lead. 54, 48 through 3 and 4. Working lap number 60, 110 laps to go. Yusuf Ghali power move to the bottom of the racetrack, making the short way work. They're going to touch down the hill. This will be a great run for Fuller here.
Yes, if we ran off the track in the final quarter, that'll allow Fuller to get a massive.
Here he comes.
Does he have a look?
Oh, big block here by Sanfilippo. Into the grass goes Ben Fuller toward turn 1, and Sanfilippo hangs on. He's loose. No! And he crashes hard at the exit of turn number 2. Don't try here, boys. They're going to do it. Gritsko backs out. They touch. They're going to crash. Gritsko going to slam the attenuator hard into the wall, and Tessa hits him as well. And big damage on these cars. That's huge.
Number 4, people are struggling for grip, going out of every single lane, trying to make a run. It's getting really insane.
Powered by AWS for the Intercontinental GT Challenge, powered by Pirelli at the Indianapolis 8-hour. We are 7 hours and 18 minutes into this 8-hour event.
John Miller way deep on the brakes to the inside of turn number 1 and 2. The spin, the 3 car gets turned around in front of the car.
James Houghton looking for a place to go, but he's got Austin Cobb to the inside. Bit of a gap behind. I think that's about 15 or 16 spot as they come out of turn 3. Big slide for this.
Getting a run. He's got it. Going to be a drag racing line. Final corner. Checkered flag waving. Here they come. At Virginia National Raceway. To the line. Thompson, Darling, door to door. Banging doors. Fender to fender. I can't believe what we just saw.
In the past few decades, the NASCAR season finale has been in Homestead, Miami. But it wasn't always the southeastern state of Florida where we contested the last race of the season. It used to be in Hampton, Georgia at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Outsider Racing League has brought that piece of history back for its last race of the outgoing 2020 season. And with an incredibly tight points picture coming into tonight, every lap, every position will matter. This is the Outsider Racing League season finale on Sim TV. My name's Kyle Heyer, joined by Connor Horn tonight for what is going to be a phenomenal last lap or last race battle of the 2020 season in 2021. A couple of teammates battling at the top of the order, though, Connor. One final race at the hot, slick Atlanta Motor Speedway.
And it's Hot Atlanta. They call it Hot Atlanta for a reason. It's definitely going to be a hot and slick finish to this 2020-2021 season here. They got Jeff Wright, Bailey Turner, like you were talking about, 2 teammates going at it for the championship. 4 points separate them, with Wright at the top of the championship table. After the bad week Stravato had last week, he's 21 points out, and he needs a lot of help. Same for Bryce Lucer, but it's mainly Wright and Turner we're going to be keeping an eye on today.
We are at, of course, Atlanta Motor Speedway in Hampton, Georgia. Hampton, population just about 7,000 people here. The Speedway constructed back in 1960, one of the oldest on the NASCAR schedule, and the surface reflects that as well. As we head down to the racetrack here for qualifying, some drivers have already put times in. We've got almost 30 drivers here tonight. Brandon Bowers right now has just come across the line in second place. He is currently the leader in the safest driver category for the 2020 season. But let's talk points as we come into the night. Jeff Wright leads by 4 points over Bailey Turner. AJ Stravato is 21 back after a very wild last couple of races. Bryce Calusa 23 back, but it's basically between Jeff Wright and Bailey Turner. Connor, pick me one. Is it Jeff or is it Bailey that comes out on top tonight?
I think it's going to be Jeff. I think that track position is going to come into a big factor, I believe, later in the race. And Jeff Wright knows how to get track position when it matters most. We saw it last week. He didn't have the best track position last week, but when he got that yellow, he was able to get up through the field. And he was able to get those bonus points with the track position with the two-tire call last week, which definitely contributed to him having this points lead going into this season finale. I think he's going to go and probably do the same thing again. I think he's going to win this championship.
17 drivers already put in times, and as you mentioned, he's just going to jump straight to the top of the board. A 30.025 puts him 9 thousandths ahead of Jeremy Miller on the timing screen, who is currently in second. Casey Lakatos out on track running the Sim Motorsports Toyota Camry in this number 50. He is currently the only one running a lap that will get one in before the end of the qualifying session here. But now it's time to roll into the tail end of qualifying. It's Jeff Wright, Miller, Bowers, Turner atop the timing and scoring. All the drivers with the yellow numbers on the ticker are your chase competitors. AJ Stravato to the top of the board, 29.995, Connor.
And yeah, that was his second lap, so lap 2 definitely faster. He's going to be the only driver to get, likely the only driver to get into the 29s at all. Still got a minute left in qualifying, but 300ths faster than Jeff Wright. If he can get that pole, that extra bonus point, that goes a long way into getting somehow back into this title fight where he still needs a lot of help.
Well, we already mentioned that the ticker has the yellow numbers. Those are the chase competitors. The green numbers on the side of the cars are for the Dash for Cash. And, Connor, we've got 5 of those drivers here tonight. All are eligible. They are not going to be denoted on the ticker, but they will have green numbers on their cars. They are eligible for $80 if they win this race under green flag conditions tonight. And I think there's going to be a lot of push for the drivers to go out there and win that tonight as well. So don't be surprised to see if people get a little bit of elbows out to try to win that $80 prize here this evening. So it'll be AJ Stravato and Jeff Wright on the front row for our final race of the season. Bailey Turner comes in 4 points back from the 48 of Jeff Wright. Now there also are halfway points on the line for the top 5, so we'll be racing to halfway as aggressively as we are to the checkers.
Yeah, those halfway points are going to be a big key. Like I talked about earlier, Jeff Wright's got that 4-point lead in part to the bonus points, the 5 bonus points he got a halfway last week at Iowa. And I think whoever gets the most halfway points between Jeff Wright and Bailey Turner, that might be the championship decider. They are both going to be gunning for those 5 points once we get to the end of lap 70. So that's going to be interesting to see. Sort of got 2 races in one tonight, but it's going to be a big thriller between those 2.
All right, let's roll through our starting lineup here on the front row tonight. It's going to be AJ Stravato in the 33 and Jeff Wright in the number 48. Row number 2, Jeremy Miller in the 30 and Brandon Bowers in the 31.
And we got row 3, Bailey Turner starting in 5th, and Ryan Carwell beside him. Bailey trying to get that championship. Then row 4, Hayden Pistorius and Jonathan Hernandez. And then on the 5th row, we got Adam Cabot, multiple winner here in Oral this season, and 10th is Matthew Close.
In row number 6, starting in 11th spot tonight, alongside Michael Sturgel will be Ben Lafter's number 64. So Sturgel will start to his outside in 12th position. In row number 7, starting 13th, Austin Carpe alongside Alex Bell in the number 15 Camry.
Alex Bell's final race in ORL tonight. Bryce Calusa, Case Lakatos on the 8th row behind him. Caleb Weekly, RJ Root, row 9. The last 2 qualifiers, Brian Chambliss, Matt Wagner rounding out the top 20.
The rest of the starting lineup will scroll along the bottom of the screen here tonight. We'll look over our weather information as soon as that moves on through. Keys to the race tonight as well we have to pay attention to, but I think one of them is going to be the temperature, and we'll have a look here at our weather information this evening, Connor. Hotlanta, as you mentioned, 84 on the air, but how about 115 on the track surface? That is super, super toasty, and it's going to be very, very slick out there as well.
I'm interested to see how the 12 to 13 mile per hour winds are going to do anything. It's almost gusting at that point. See how maybe those affect the cars in the corners, down the straight areas in some sort of way. But yeah, we talked about a hot Atlanta. It's going to be hot and slick out there, and it's going to be very tough to keep that car pinned down to the bottom as you see the keys to the race going across the screen right there.
Super loose. Watch those rear tailpipes and keep them off the fence all night long. We've got big spoilers on these cars tonight, but that doesn't mean these cars are going to be easy to drive. Championship fight, 4 points between Bailey Turner and Jeff Wright. We'll be following that all night long. Long runs. Will we get them? Will we not? The tire wear is going to be very significant tonight, Connor. So I'd watch out. If you're going to burn up that right front tire, you better not do it early. You better make them last as long as you can.
Yeah, you're going to have to be really careful on the tires. Keep it pinned to that white line as much as you can, but it's going to be hard to do that. If I would add a key to the race here, a quick fourth one, track position is going to be huge. The aero push that these Cup cars have on them, you need to be at the front of the pack. If you're marred back there on 9th or 10th, like someone like Adam Cabot is here starting this race, it's going to be very tough to get to the front without making aggressive moves, because you're going to see these drivers, all of them likely on the inside line to start this race, get pretty spread out by a few tenths here or there, just because of how bad that aero push is into the corner. So look to see people getting close, if not hitting that outside wall on turns 2 and 4.
Last race of the season, and a last race for his current career, Alex Bell, the number 15. He's got a lot of awesome stuff happening in his personal life, so he is going to be heading out after tonight, and an awesome livery he's got on that car here tonight as well. So good to see Alex in one final race before he moves on in the real world, as we all would like to, I'm sure, at some point. The 33 of AJ Stravato on the inside with the green numbers. Dash for cash. More cash on the line, but a championship as well. The Outsider Racing League season finale from Atlanta is green. Lap 1 complete across the line. AJ Stravato, car in the grass, sideways on the inside of the racetrack. Was that Michael Sturgel in the 90? He went for a heck of a ride. Kind of getting those left side tires off there in the dirt, but an aggressive start. We saw some 3 wide action through turns 1 and 2 there, Connor.
Yeah, we saw a lot of drivers get tight from the very get-go. Cold tires might have had something to do with that. A lot of drivers just weren't able to get to the bottom right away. Sturgel trying to find any line he could go into the grass in the dogleg there. That can happen if you lose track of where you are on the track, as Stravato is still trying to lead this group. Pretty much everyone in single file line just about as Millers came to the back of Jeff Wright.
Handful of Chevrolets at the front of the field so far. And you mentioned track position is going to be important, and the reason why is the size of the spoilers on these cars. We look off of the back of, or off the front of Jeff Wright's car. You'll notice on the front, AJ Stravato's spoiler is a lot bigger than it was the last couple races we've seen, Connor. That high downforce aerodynamic package means a lot of downforce, except you're going to lose all that front aerodynamics when you're behind the leading car, so you're going to experience a lot of push, and when you're all by yourself, you're going to get a lot of tail happiness because of the hot racetrack. Going to be a tricky, challenging night tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult to drive. I've seen in the official racing at Atlanta in these Cup cars, that middle line, because of how big that aero push is, that middle line can't sort of work, especially on restarts where everyone's into the bottom, and you're trying to go around the middle and make it work with no dirt here. That middle line might come into play, especially on restarts, but we'll have to wait and see. Seems like everyone's pinned to that bottom line right now, except for Ryan Carlisle back there.
In the past, you might see drivers kind of rim riding around here all the way up against the fence, but that's really no longer the case with the current configuration. You're not going to be searching around in different lines for grip until at least way later in the race. There's Sturgel popping out of line, having a look at the, looks like the 69 of Hayden Pistorius. Got really dicey there. See the arrow push up the racetrack. The 92 at close is going to go all the way up to the third lane to try to find some pace as battle in front of them heats up. The 31 at Bowers with the green dash for cash numbers on the side of that car.
See everyone in the mid-pack around the top 10 really trying to fight position. We see Adam Cabot already up into the 5th position, started 9th, already making his way quickly up to the front. And we got Brandon Bowers, who's dropped back to 7th for the time being. Still getting a single foul as Hernandez is going to go to the bottom of Bowers. That 31 slipping back pretty quickly here as we see how important it is to be on that white line.
And going backwards, 4th down to 8th in the opening 6 laps of the race. Talk to me about pit strategy tonight. I mean, tire wear is obviously going to be significant. We dropped half a second in about 3 minutes worth of racing. So is 2 tires even remotely an option, or are you going to take 4 every chance you get?
Nah, I don't think we're in Iowa anymore. We're not in Iowa anymore.
Not in Kansas anymore either, are we?
We haven't been to Kansas in a while now that I think about it, but besides the fact we're in Atlanta, tires get eaten up so quickly at this sort of track, and I don't think we're going to see any strategy come into play unless it's a desperation move for a championship like Stravato and Calusa might need. We're going to see 4 tires every single pit stop, whether it's green flag or yellow flag. You're going to see 4 tires being put on that car. And I think the runs are going to be, I would guess, 50 laps, because I don't think you can make it 70 laps on the tank of gas, so we're going to see even thirds here tonight.
Alex Bell in the number 15 car, riding in 12th right now after starting in 14th. A slow climb forward. He's got Austin Carpay to the inside, just out of view. Hayden Pistorius in the 69 on the bottom, going to slide up the racetrack just a bit. Bell has to jump out of the throttle. They're both losing time to the 92 who close in front.
And 92's been the only one even trying to go to the top right now, whether it's by choice or something else. He's trying to run that middle a little bit, getting wide arcs through the corners, trying to get better runs out of the corners, and it's working a little bit so far. I got a bit of a run on the 90 Michael Sturgel, who wiggles that rear end at a turn 2.
No changes at the front. Stravato, Wright, and Miller all very neat and tidy so far. The top 4 all chase competitors. Jonathan Hernandez in the number 1 is your 2020 Outsider Racing League Rookie of the Year. And he has been very impressive, Connor, and really hasn't put a foot wrong very much at all this season. Has had a relatively quiet existence, didn't make a lot of noise in several different capacities, but I believe he did get a race win earlier this season as well. So I feel like he's accomplished what he needed to accomplish this season.
He's been very consistent, been able to be at front at times. There was some races where he wasn't as fast as usual, but he's had decent top 10 runs at top 5 speeds at certain tracks. Got that race win, the Chase opener of Talladega, which is big for his potential Chase hopes. Chase hasn't gone the way he wanted it to, but he's definitely in a strong showing in his first season.
92 a close side by side with Michael Sturgel through turn number 1. This is interesting to see how the side by side action corresponds to the pace of drivers that are still single file behind them. So far it's worked out okay, but they are still losing time.
Yeah, they lost a 10th and at times 2/10 to Brandon Bowers being side by side like this. And the 92 in that wake of the 31 having trouble keeping it on the bottom, but he does get clear of Sturgel. Sturgel's probably about to be freight trained here as Hayden Pistorius goes for that 10th position.
And you can throw Alex Bell in the mix too. He'd like to grab another spot or 3. And all those positions available for him just up the road as these guys continue to try to make that outside lane work. I just don't think the grip is there quite yet as he gets really tight out of turn 2.
Yeah, there's nothing in that middle line right now. He's losing spots left and right. Probably going to fall to the back of this line. Austin Carpay could be the next one in line to probably get that 12th position from him. 13th position, excuse me. Ricardo is getting the 12th position as Sturgel fights back on the outside.
Carpay tucked in behind. We'll see if he'll go for the bottom, trying to find any sort of air to get downforce on the nose of that car. He'll slot in behind Casey Lacatus, trying to carve up underneath him. And got a bit of a run there as these two continue to run door to door down the backstretch.
Swat by Carpay did not go free wide. It's lap 13. Don't destroy the rest of your race this early on, as we see. Change of position. Finally, Bailey Turner, one of those championship competitors, up to 3rd place. Finally, right behind Jeff Wright. So he sees his competitor in sights as Jeremy Miller starts to fade a little bit with the 77 Cabot going under him.
Add Cabot to the dash for Cash. Miller sideways at the exit of turn number 2. Saw him get on the apron just a little bit. That'll open up the door for Ryan Carwile, the winner from Charlotte. Behind him, Casey Lacatus. He's out of line there at the exit of turn 2.
I think he got loose as well, but unlike Miller, he couldn't really save it. I think he went to the apron a little bit, lost the track position he did have. He's able to keep it going again, although that track position is going to be tough to get back. You can't make mistakes like that.
Yeah, he just held that in a sustained slide for quite some time. Now all the way back to 16th place with RJ Root. Up at the front, AJ Stravato leads the way. Jeff Wright has shown no ability to get on by, so right now it's Stravato, Wright, Turner, Cabot, and Carwile the top 5. And I mentioned he won at Charlotte, a very similar looking track to this, but they could not drive more different.
No, they're completely different. Charlotte's pretty smooth. It's a bit bumpy, but for the most part, it's smooth, and you're on that bottom line all the way. And I'm pretty sure when we went to Charlotte, the dirty air wasn't as bad. You were able to really kind of run in packs, as we saw. Didn't see much passing there, but the 71 still knows how to get around. He's a mile and a half, but Atlanta way more slick compared to Charlotte. It's going to be way more bumpy of a ride for Carwile to get to the front today.
Mentioned the weather information. 115 was where we started. We're up to almost 120 degrees on the asphalt racing surface here. And the hotter it gets, the slicker it's going to be for every driver in this field. And a big slide there by Jeremy Miller on the exit of turn number 4. He'll gather it back up.
We kind of saw this from him last week, especially on the first run where he started up front and he just faded in that first run all the way back to almost outside the top 10. He was able to recover. He was going to get a top 5 finish at Iowa until his internet gave out, but if he's probably going to have to use his first run just like last week just to learn about what he needs to do to save his tires.
Bryce Calusa out of line on the 90 of Michael Sturgel down the back straightaway into turn number 3. On the apron, and Sturgel continues to drop down the order. He started this race in 12th, and he's down to 15th place now. Lakatos on a charge back forward after a slip up a few laps ago.
It seems like Sturgel got it up around to 9th, but he's not able to keep that track position. He got stuck in that middle lane, and he can't do anything right now. He drives it hard to stay in front of the 50. 50 gets sideways again out of turn 2. He's going to go all the way to the apron again, have to save it again as Clifton Cockrell and others go by.
Yeah, he gathered it back up. Here comes Ben Laughter and Eddie Trejo to the mix as well. Trejo in one of the lone Ford Mustangs here tonight through turn 3. Laughter has to run up the racetrack to leave Lakatos some space. That got a little bit dicey as they come out of turn 4.
Got to be careful at 50. I don't think anyone wants to be around him when he's getting sideways like that. In the center of the corner, really. It's kind of probably hitting the bumps some sort of wrong way for that to be happening. So I'm doing the same thing. But the 50 seems to be struggling with it the worst as he's going to swing that right route again. Look how sideways that thing gets to the apron yet again. Able to save it for at least the 3rd time.
Yeah, he is really struggling with oversteer at the exit of turn 2. And understeer in turn 3. You see him pushing up the racetrack here. And I'm not sure if it's just because the angle he's entering turn 3 at. Oh, another big moment out of turn 4. He is really struggling right now.
Yeah, he can't keep that car under him for anything. He's got to regroup and just learn the track a little bit here. He's not able to keep the car under him at all. He's just got to make sure he keeps the car in one piece till we get to their first pit stop, because that right rear is not going to last a long run if this keeps up.
He was pushing up through the middle of turns 3 and 4. Then watch this right here. Comes up off the corner. Watch the hands inside. Already back to the right. Just a big moment across 3 lanes. Did a good job catching it there, Connor, but that was a bit too close for comfort, I think.
Yeah, if he does that a few more times, he definitely won't be able to catch it. You can only get away with moves like that so many times, and sooner or later it's going to snap and you're going to get on the outside wall. So he's going to have to learn a thing or two right behind someone up there at the back of the pack.
Jeff Wright slowly closing that gap to leader AJ Stravato as Alex Bell works his way by Matthew Close to crack himself inside the top 10 in the 9th.
33 got really sideways there to turn 4. The 48 is going to look under him as he's got a bit of a run. I'm wondering how hard Stravato's going to block his teammate for this. He's sort of far out of the picture as the 48 gives him a bit of a shot in turn 1. A bit far out of the picture, but right now he's led every single lap up at the front of the pack. He's doing everything he can to try to get back into this championship race, but I just don't think he has the long run speed right now. His Wright's going to look for a dive to the bottom, but his teammate is looking for a break there.
He's getting defensive. He can't win this championship if he doesn't, or if he has the 48 car in front of him at all. So, I mean, he's going to have to defend this. I just don't know if he can, as Jeff Wright looks like he's got a little bit more pace right now on the outside on the front straightaway.
Kind of surprised he's going to the outside line. I remember him doing this at Charlotte. He raced for the lead on the outside line for so long, and then he fell back all the way almost to the outside of a top 10. That same tire wear is going to happen on this 1.5 mile track, but he's got so much more pace than the 33. He's almost able to completely clear him into turn number 3, but the 33 holds strong on the bottom.
Through 3 and 4, now he's going to clear the 33. That's the first pass we've seen done on the high side of the racetrack. Maybe Jeff Wright has figured something out there.
Yeah, we'll see if that comes into play later in the race. I don't know how much faster he is in the 33, but we'll see how far he pulls away. We might find out here. 48 is going to get that vital bonus point for leading at least 1 lap here today.
Brian Carwile now closing in on Adam Cabot. That would be for 4th place. New livery for the 71 car this week as well. New paint scheme for the Virginia Tech Ford Mustang.
He's definitely one of the, I wouldn't say underrated. I think everyone knows how good he is, but definitely a bit one of the more surprising drivers of the series. We thought he'd be good on the road courses. We talk about it all the time. Thought he'd be really good on the road courses, but he's been able to show his strengths at the ovals. The win at Charlotte, he's been top 5 pretty much everywhere else. And he ran the full season. He could be in this championship fight for all we know, as he's getting a run at Adam Cabot here. It's been a really strong season.
You know, we talked at length about how we expected to be better on the road courses. He's actually been better on the ovals than he has on the road tracks. So as he works over Adam Cabot for 4th right now, I don't think the success can be understated. And he's also kind of in the shades of Kevin Harvick, a closer. You don't really think about him until the last 10, 15 laps of the race. We'll keep an eye on him later in the night. Look at this battle, one of them back here. Hayden Pistorius, Austin Carpe, Bryce Calusa, Matthew Close, all for 11th spot here throw Joshua Banks in the mix, making his return. Oh, big moment there for
Whoa,
Bryce.
Oh boy. And Pistorius had an even bigger moment. Carpe almost into the outside wall. Here comes Calusa to the bottom to get that 12th position from him here as Matthew Close. A lot of right side damage on that car. He's still fighting for his positions.
Yeah, he hit something somewhere. I bet the fence might have knocked it down at the exit of turn 2 or 4, but should be able to get some of that repaired on the pit stop. But aerodynamics are going to be a pretty big topic of discussion today. You're not going to want any sort of damage on your car if you want to be competitive and win this race. You don't want any sort of handicap to keep you from running well.
No, you don't whatsoever. The dirty air makes you push up the track as much as it is, but having right front damage like that's going to make him push up the track even worse. So if he doesn't get a caution to repair that car, he's probably going to be hitting the wall a few more times before this race is over. He's trying to keep that 14th position with the cockerel.
Saw AJ Stravato have a big moment out of turn 4 as well. He gathered it back up quite nicely, but I think everyone's starting to struggle with pace just a little bit as well. Have a look at Jeff Wright last time by, 32.031, which is almost perfectly 2 seconds slower than his best lap, a 30.025 run in the very beginning of the race. We're 28 laps in, about a little past halfway in the fuel run here, Connor. I think undercut versus overcut, pitting early versus pitting late is going to be the topic of discussion, especially since we've been green since the drop of the green flag.
I think we're going to see undercuts prevail here. That dirty air is so valuable, in my opinion, that I think even a one-lap undercut is so vital to getting track position at a track so tough to pass at right now, like Atlanta's at 33, hangs the right rear out again. I wouldn't be surprised to see Bailey Turner try to undercut the 48, get in front of him before they get those halfway bonus points. 24 needs him right now to have any sort of shot. 48's in front of him, he can't win his championship. So either Stravato or Bailey Turner or someone in the back like Cabot, Carwell, Miller, Hernandez, someone's going to try an undercut.
It is almost uncanny to me how similar this racing looks like I guess it was 2019 Atlanta, the first time with the high downforce package. Almost uncanny how exactly, if you look at the exit or at the turn 3 here, I remember this camera being used in the real race and seeing these cars separated about these distances. Very, very similar, which is a testament to how accurate these cars are driving right now, like they are in the real world. As we got that battle with the 16 of Cockrell and Carpe shaping up back here for 13th.
Yeah, they can't get away from each other. I saw the 16 get really high off of turn number 2 a few laps ago, just bending these guys off right now. Austin Carpe still trying to get by, gripping that new Alex Bowman ally paid scheme as RJ Root. He's made his way up the field a little bit, 18th to 15th. Had an all-right season, could have been better, could have been worse, trying to end on a high note. As close to sort of starting to drop back as he is really sideways at the turn 2. Seems like all these drivers really showing that right rear out on every corner.
Talking championship picture, Bailey Turner needs to make up basically 4 points on Jeff Wright, but now it's going to be 5 because Wright has led a lap and Turner has not yet. So there is an internal points battle happening between Bailey Turner and Jeff Wright. That is going to be really interesting to watch as this race progresses, because Bailey basically needs to beat Jeff by at least 4 positions and now lead a lap and probably get the most laps led if he wants to have a legitimate chance on winning that championship. So it's going to take Jeff Wright to have a mediocre or not, if not bad day, which might be a lot to ask.
Yeah, and it's going to, like we were talking about with overcut, undercut, I think Bailey's going to have to come down to pit road earlier than the 48 to get that track position, likely lead a lap, and then hopefully get those 5 bonus points, and maybe Jeff doesn't get as many bonus points because, like you said, those bonus points are likely going to be the championship decider. So if the 24 can get track position by lap 70, will go a long way to getting back in the championship fight.
Jonathan Hernandez had a big slide out of turn 2. That let Bowers get a run, and he's going to go to the bottom of the racetrack, but can't quite hold it down there. The outside is getting stronger as we go. I'm not sure that you can complete a pass around there unless you're Jeff Wright, but other people seem to be defending pretty well up there. So maybe the outside, or at least the middle groove, will start to come in as we go later in this race, and the temperatures continue to rise. Again, we started at 115 track temp, now up to 122.
And really, if you're on that outside line defending, all you have to do is pinch, and you probably have a really good shot at keeping that track position just by pinching hard, pitching that driver on the bottom just very hard to that white line. Wow, that was close. My goodness.
Casey Lakatos again.
Look who it is. Yeah, look who it is.
Yeah, here's another look as they came out of turn 2. I think he's going to slide up the racetrack and just tag the 21 of Eddie Trejo. Big moment there. Did a good job hanging on to it, though. He'll continue.
Yeah, lucky Trejo didn't go spinning there. Really only affected the 50 car. The 50s had a loud ride. In the SimTV cars last 2 weeks, we had Finian going all over the place last week. This week it's Lacadas. We can't really keep the car under him right now. Really struggling, falling very far back. Not very far back. Started 16th, back to 19th, but he's really struggled keeping the car under him still, 35 laps in.
All those MTV cars just want to be the show, clearly, as we come out of turn 4. Here's this show. Jonathan Hernandez, Jeremy Miller. Miller is starting to drop backwards as well. The tire longevity for him has not been the best the last couple weeks. Bowers and Bell now attacking him from behind.
That's the thing. He's not on the first run. He is not good. As the 15 really drifted up there, lost a lot of time there. As the Hernandez, as Bowers is going to try to go 3 wide with his teammate in the middle. I think he might back out. No, he's going to go for it. Hernandez fights back. We're going to be a 3 wide here. The 31's going to drift up, almost contact between those two teammates.
They did a good job hanging on to it. That could have been a lot uglier than it was. So a tense 3 wide situation now moves Miller back to 6. Bowers and Hernandez back to 7th and 8th. Austin Carpe out of turn 4. On the apron real slow. I wonder if he's had a spin.
He's going to park it and maybe call it a day. Yeah, he's just going to disconnect it and park it. Not sure why. He didn't hit anything or do anything like that, so...
Attending to real world.
Like, I guess. Some sort of thing happening here as Bailey's coming down. Looks like we're going to get some earlier green flag pit stops, and I thought he's going to spin it.
Oh, that's going to almost certainly be speeding on pit lane. We'll see if he gets caught for it, Connor, but that could be championship hopes completely gone with that simple mistake.
Yeah, you can't make mistakes like that. Matthew Close also just retired from the race. I think he actually... There was a little bit of a wreck off of turn number 2 of the 92 a lap or 2 ago, so that's why he disconnected, but we'll see if the 24 has any sort of penalties here, because this could be the end.
Jeff Wright's going to come on down lap 38. Seems early to me, but a lot more composed for the 48. Nicely done. Does the 24 get out, or is he going to get held? Oh, he's leaving.
Out.
Oh, he got really lucky there. Maximize pit road entry. Will pull back out on the racetrack as the leader. 48 of Jeff Wright's on in, and now I expect AJ Stravato next time by. Less long run than I would have thought. Maybe being driven more by tire than by fuel.
Yeah, maybe it has something to do with the big tire wear, because I don't know. We might get 3 stops under green if this goes all the way instead of 2, which I sort of expected. Bailey he crossed the pit entrance at 60, but he slowed all the way down to 25 when he was trying to gather it back up. So we'll see if he even gets out in front of that 40 of Jeff Wright. Wright's already through turn 1 right now, and the 24 is not caught up to him yet. I don't know if the 48's gonna... I don't know if the 24 is going to stay by him. He's got to go to the outside of RJ Root and Clifton Cockrell here. I think the 48 is going to have him.
Yeah, I think Turner might have made up a little bit of ground here once you gather up all the momentum. Not quite. I think the lap cars, or the cars that are still on the lead lap, are sort of in the way here of Bailey Turner and cost him just a little bit of time. It's a 1.2 second gap between those two. And early pit stops for sure. Stravato playing a long game. I don't know if Stravato can really win this race, or win this championship rather, without doing something radically different. I think that's what he's going to try to do.
I don't know how radically different it really is. Really, the only ones to pit were the 48 and the 24. No one else has come to pit lane. The only other drivers who are off the track, Close, who had an incident off of turn 2, and Carpe just decided to call it the only 2 pit stops so far. Everyone else still trucking along.
It's interesting to note. Handful of drivers that came in early, but no one else has seemed to do that. Maybe they're going to try to go a little bit longer in this run, but splitting up already, the 2 championship leaders, completely different from everybody else. Different agendas, though.
I think I have a theory of what might have happened. I think Bailey Turner wanted to try a massive undercut to make sure he was the leader at lap 70 to get those 5 bonus points. I think what Wright might have did was just react to the 24, so he didn't lose too much track position, so he couldn't get those 5 bonus points. That might have been what happened. It's just a guess, but I wouldn't be surprised if a bit of a sort of not defensive driving, but defensive strategy.
Well, for Jeff Wright, realistically, the only person that he's racing is the 24 Bailey Turner. So, maybe it's not smart in the grand scheme of the whole race, but he's only racing. Whoa, the 30 Miller, he's in the wall, the back straightaway. They're going to crash hard.
Oh man, that is going to be a big hit. And Jonathan Hernandez involved as well, up onto the track, and the yellow is out. And that is worst case scenario for Bailey Turner. He's not going to get the lucky dog, and Jeff Wright does.
Wow.
My goodness, that happened out of nowhere. Those 2 drivers are definitely going to be done for the rest of the day, I would assume. Hernandez just trying to lip it back to pit road. Miller not even bothering.
Yeah, big crash for Jeremy Miller. Got up in the wall in front of the one, tried to gather it back up, but slid across the nose. Eerily similar to the Jeff Gordon wreck here from 2015.
And just like Jeff Gordon's wreck, they hit the very end of a track where the safer barrier wasn't there. He just scrapes the wall, tries to save it. Hernandez is trying to find a way by him, and it's just too late when the 30 comes back across. And both of those drivers hitting extremely hard, almost coming back in front of the 69 with the stories.
There's the slightest of scrapes right here. Then came back across. Not really anything that anybody could do about that. Big hits there on the inside lane. So the caution out for the first time at lap number 43. And for the majority of the field, they had not yet pit. They're going to do that now here, Connor.
Yep, and that's a big break for pretty much everyone who didn't pit. The only one who's really caught out by that is Turner, who's going to have to take a wave round, and it's going to be on probably older tires. And I don't know if Jeff Wright's going to pit, because a few laps on the tires, he was on those new tires for about 2.5 laps, I'd say. So I wonder if he's going to think to take one of his second set of 4 here this time by. I don't think he's going to. Really throws his tire strategy off here, but it's really big for AJ Stravato because he's going to be the leader and his championship competitors down the order a little bit.
So first caution at lap number 43 for a collision involving the 30 of Jeremy Miller and Rookie of the Year Jonathan Hernandez. And we'll see where everybody cycles out here in just a minute. You're watching the Outsider Racing League season finale from Atlanta Motor Speedway. The last race of the 2020 season. It'll all start again on February 3rd at February 13th rather, Daytona Beach, Florida for our first race of the season. The second race of the season will be at Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas, the first ever trip for the Outsider Racing League 2, the 20-turn, 3.5-mile road course just outside of Austin. Rockingham will be the third race of the season. There's a lot of other interesting things coming up here on that schedule, so keep your eyes and ears tuned for that upcoming schedule after this season is over. So Casey Licata stays out to lead a lap. AJ Stravato should cycle to be the race leader. Ryan Carwile jumps up to second place. And just like at Charlotte, he's already having a pretty good night.
Yeah, he is having a pretty good night so far. He's going to be up to second on his restart after the 48 and 24 pit and got caught by that incident. Licata has led the lap, but Carwile is going to have a decent shot at maybe getting the race lead away from Stravato. Stravato looked good on that short run, faded a little bit in the middle, and on the long run, he seemed to keep a decent pace with the 48, but just couldn't get back by a round because of how big that dirty air is. So we'll see if the 71 has anything to say about that.
Weather still about 122 on the racetrack, 84 in the air. A nice warm day here in Hampton, Georgia for our last race of the season. It's been a long-running season. It's been quite a while since we have wrapped up a season here in the Outsider Racing League. Several months. I believe we started this one back in the well, I shouldn't want to say early summer, but August. So it's been quite some time. Coming back to the restart here, AJ Stravato should probably choose the inside lane here. Connor, any reason why you choose the outside?
To keep someone else on the inside lane behind another guy on the inside lane would be my guess. I don't see any other reason. I think that top lane, it's done nothing all race except for the 48 making that one pass. Other than that, it's been all bottom.
Jeff Wright dropping to the rear here. 24, Bailey Turner, making his attempt to get waved around here. Eddie Trejo also taking a wave around. We'll put 19 drivers on the lead lap. We started this race with 23 and have lost Austin Carpe, Matthew Close, and Jeremy Miller to crash damage early in the going. Jonathan Hernandez also still on the racetrack, but 3 laps down. That car is unlikely to return to racing action here tonight.
And with those drivers going out of the race, it's going to be really tough for. I wouldn't say Stravato's hopes are done yet, but he's going to basically need the 48 and the 24 to wreck completely out, and he needs to get all the bonus points he can get and get like max 51 points and the 48-24 to finish way down the order. Even then, I don't know if the math would go in his favor. I don't know if he'd even win a championship then, but it doesn't hurt to try. If he can do everything he can to win a championship, he'll feel all right knowing he did everything he could do.
Lap number 48 out of 140, closing in on 90 laps to go. Green flag back in the air, racing again from Atlanta. Well, they're 3 wide. 15 car of Alex Bell on the outside. The 71 of Carwile dropping back here just a little bit. Joshua Banks up to 4th in the 36 car as Cabot moves to 2nd. Bowers to 3rd. Cabot's going for the race lead down in turn 1.
Another driver trying to go to the outside of a 33. Seems like Stravato's just really trying to pedal that car on the bottom, save tires perhaps, and everyone else taking advantage of that to the outside of him. This time it's the 77 of Evan Cabot. Both drivers, you got to remember, going for 80 bucks in that dash for cash. Not all about the championship for Stravato tonight. So this is a big battle in that sense. Also, the 31 of, I don't know if the 31, I don't remember if the 31 of Bowers is in that, but he does have green numbers, so I'd assume he is. Those 3 right on top of each other.
Dash for cash eligible is the 31, so 3 of those drivers all running for the $80 cash prize should they win this race under green flag conditions. And Cabot is holding tough there on the outside lane and making that work, something we've only seen the 48 of Jeff Wright be able to do.
But Wright was able to make that pass in a matter of just 1 lap, really. If the 77 can't make this pass work on Stravato and can't get back to the bottom, he's going to be likely getting freight trained as he gets back in front of the 31. He's going to go very aggressively to the inside, over to grass in the dogleg to get to the bottom of the 33 Stravato.
Oh, into turn 1. He's loose there on the bottom. He saw the car correct. He's going to slide up the racetrack now. Not a lot of grip as far down as he went. He'll gather back up, but he's going to lose some time. Bauer's going to hunt for the apron on the back straightaway. That was dicey into turn 3.
You think these drivers don't care about track position? Look how much they're blocking all the way down to the apron below that yellow line down the backstretch. You saw how the 77 darted down to the bottom into turn 1. These drivers want that bottom line and they want that top spot.
So hard to pass after things get settled out. So you really need to push to get it done early. Alex Bell on a great charge here. Started this race all the way back in 14th. Whoa. Big slide out of turn 2 for Bowers. Here comes the 15.
Yeah, 31 drifted almost up, causing a wreck with him and Cabot. Bell made that big move on the top lane on the restart in 3 and 4. Don't know how that worked, but it got him up into the top 5, and now he's pinching hard on the door to the 31, trying to get that top 3 positional.
Cross the line there. Here comes Cabot again with another big run on the 33. He's going to try the outside lane again through turn 1. He's going to get there. Can he complete it, though, this time?
He had trouble last time staying up there through turns 3 and 4. If he can pinch again, pinch harder on the 33's door, he might have a shot at it.
Through 3 and 4, still side by side for the race lead. This time through Adam Cabot across the line. He will not lead that lap. Stravato will have it just by an inch.
Alex Bell, he did get into the 3rd position in front of that 31. Now we got a bit of a line behind him, and he's just waiting to see which line goes. Does Stravato clear or does Cabot clear? Either way, he's looking for a line to go. The 31, a big block on Joshua Banks.
Into turn 3, still side by side for the top spot. Stravato hunting up the racetrack a little bit, pushing Cabot out of line just slightly. All still fair. 31 of Bowers did defend from Banks, and Alex Bell now hunting from 3rd. Here he comes.
And this is his last race. He's just going for anything he can get. You know how aggressive this 15 car can get. I wouldn't be surprised to see him potentially try a 3-wide move at some point if he gets enough on the ride. The 77 not looking as strong in that top lane, but able to hang on that right rear quarter there.
Dead even at the front here. Just front tires begging for purchase on this hot Atlanta pavement. Still dead even as they come across the line this time. Great stuff here at the front.
This is a big battle. 15 laps until halfway. Carwell's going to stuff it to the bottom.
Oh, he's going to turn Banks.
He's going to be able to save it. They're all going to keep it straight. We're going to stay green. But you know how angry Joshua Banks can get. He's not going to be happy with that 71.
That was wild through turn 1 there. Let's have another look as they came down in here. 71 just wasn't quite there. Connor gets into the side of the 36. Banks did a great job gathering that back up. That could have been big. But at the front, we're still banging doors almost as we come across the line. Cabot trying everything he can to get in front of this 33.
Definitely a dive bomb by Carwell. Definitely his mistake, but it definitely was able to gather it back up and still in the top 10 as Carwell lost more position. Cabot finally can't stay on the right rear of Stravato. He falls back into 2nd. Bell can't stay on the bottom of the 77. The top 4 single filed out as look at Hayden Pistorius has somehow found his way up into the 5th.
Yeah, Hayden Pistorius in that 69 has been running a very smart race here tonight. Started this race all the way back in 7th, drifted backwards a little bit early in the going, and now has moved forward a couple spots. There's that front 4 breakaway. But the way they've been racing, I don't think they'll be broken away for very long.
I don't think so. Let's see if the 77 has any more gas really for the 33 Stravato. That dirty air is going to get worse and worse as the run goes on. As the tires get worse, it gets harder to pass. So we'll see if Cabot, if he can stay on the rear bumper of the 33, he can still have a shot at the lead. But with about 12 laps to go, the 33 is going to do everything he can to get these 5 bonus points. So he sees the 48 and 24. They're not getting halfway points at this point. So this is key to get at least 5 points to have an even better shot at maybe scraping back into this race.
Cabot losing a little bit of ground. Alex Bell all over him. The 77 is going to slide up the racetrack, opens the door for the 15, gets some air on the nose of that car. But nowhere to go just yet.
He knows, I think Bell knows he doesn't really want to go to the outside just because of how much he's going to have to save the tires. But Cabot can't hold that white line right now. Going to give the bottom to the 15. A battle for second brewing as Cabot hanging that right rear out. Can Bell get a bit of a run? 31's got to run on both of them.
Here it comes now to the inside lane into turn 3. And Cabot's been hanging tough out there. I don't know if Bell can quite get by just yet. Bauer's licking his lips from behind though.
And these drivers are getting really pressed up behind the 77 McCarran right now. Stravato, this is kind of the biggest, I think this is the biggest lead we've seen from any leader right now. And it's really only 4 tenths. Really not that big of a lead. But the 33 machine, that waste management car, starting to pull away a little bit. And Alex Bell still trying to find a way to get by.
Think about Alex Bell a couple weeks ago at Dover. Won his first ever pole and led that race about 38 or 50 laps in the opening run. Ended up falling back later in the race and finishing a couple laps down. It was not the day that he was looking for after what was probably the most dominant performance he's ever had. And today already looking pretty strong. And fresh looking silver paint job on that car. You see the 77 really sideways out of turn 2, big slide.
That was a huge slide. That right rear is not going to last very long, but yeah, we're talking about Alex Bell. He would have been had a very good shot at winning that Dover race if he didn't speed on the pit road. Just got caught out, and then he almost got caught up in that wreck out of turn 4, but he's able to keep his head up. Still had a decent run last week at Iowa, and he's really strong so far. A big restart on that last one there, and he is showing that he has a lot of speed today.
All the way down to the apron at the exit of turn 2. Bit of a slide there. It's going to cost him some time on exit. Here comes Bowers with a run. He's going to juke to the left. Hayden Pistorius fills the gap on the outside into turn 3.
These two are going to battle for that 3rd position as Pistorius is just going to watch him do that. And look who's up into 6th. Michael Sturgel up to that 6th position all the way from 12th. Where did he come from?
Slowly creeping his way forward after that initial run where he just slid nowhere but backwards. So he's been doing a good job here. He's gathered it back up, going the right direction. Sometimes you just need a little bit of practice in the conditions and kind of dealing with the air as well. I mean, you get more used to it as the night goes on.
Hey, he's done a good job getting the track position when it matters most. This was a big restart, especially with the 48 and 24 down the order. And he's been able to make the most of it up into the 6th position. Also did a good job avoiding that incident with Carlisle and Banks, who haven't fully recovered just yet. He's making a decent run out of it so far.
Bauer still working over Bell here down into turn number 1. Pistorius waiting to see which line works better to give that one all the effort. With the slide there out of the 31. 15 still holding strong up top.
The 33 is holding strong at the front. He's more around, pretty much out to a full 2nd lead. So 77 Cabot, he's not going to get that much of an aero push anymore, but it's still going to be affecting his car to the point where he can't keep that nose pinned into that white line. As this 33, without the 48 and the 24 in the picture, looking strong for 5 full bonus points.
Yeah, again, we'll give out bonus points for the top 5 at the halfway point, which is 5 laps from now. Bauer's all the way down on the white line. That's not going to work. He's going to lose some momentum, and Bell looks like he will re-clear for 3rd place.
Surprised Bell was able to do that without, he didn't really pinch the 31 there. He's just able to run a bit of a groove higher and just get the big run off of turn 2 to get that position fully cleared back as he settles into the 3rd position. As that battle for 7th starting to heat up, Joshua Banks trying to recover from pretty much getting spun there into turn number 1. He's about to fall back and get freight train from the top. Is Clifton Cockrell, another new contender, trying to get his way into the 7th position.
Seen a lot of forward momentum. You know what we haven't seen? Oh, there's a stack up in turn 2. That's going to get ugly. There they go.
Calusa is going to go around, and everyone's going to go around, and the yellow's going to be out.
Second caution of the day. There's the 24, Bailey Turner, trying to squeeze through it. I was just about to mention how Jeff Wright and Bailey Turner had effectively gone nowhere since the restart. But then the caution came out with all the cars getting stacked up. Big damage there to Ben Laughter in the number 64.
Now this is going to be interesting because I don't think we're going to go green until after the end of lap 70. I'm wondering if anyone like Stravato or Bailey Turner or Jeff Wright, any of those three are going to stay out that extra lap and forfeit their track position just to get bonus points for the stage, for the halfway point.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that here. One more look at this before we jump back live. Just 16 and 36 got stacked up. The 20 car running to the side of the 36 and just nowhere to go for anybody here. Then the 64 and 8 have pretty heavy front end contact there. Watch the 48 of Jeff Wright on the bottom. He's going to squeeze through it. There he goes. Woo, that was real close for Matt Wagner in the 18. But you asked about pit stops here, Connor. I think we're going to find out here in just a second.
I think everyone, no matter what, is going to take 4 tires, but I'm just wondering if someone like Bailey Turner, who needs to make up points on Jeff Wright, is going to stay out and forfeit track position and get those bonus points. And it's going to be Jeff Wright who's going to do that to get those bonus points. You know what? They didn't have track position anyway, so I don't see a reason not to do that. So Wright's likely going to pick up 5 bonus points here.
Well, that was a genius move because what that just did is it just basically handicapped the 24 Bailey Turner. Now, excluding the laps led point for a second, now Bailey Turner is 9 points back from Jeff Wright, which means he needs to beat him by 10 positions, make that 11 with the laps led point. So Jeff Wright, I mean, he's done an amazing job now. As long as he can follow through and finish reasonably well the rest of the night, he's got this thing on lock.
We got a bit of a battle off of pit road here. I think Cabot was able to get the spot away from Jeff Wright. I think Bell actually got out second. Stravato got out third, so not a good pit stop for the 33. And I'm going to assume they're still pacing, and I think next time by is going to be 2 to go. So this is a big risk because the 48's going to get the bonus points, the full 5 bonus points here, but I feel like it would be, going off of recent memory, I feel like it would be a penalty to pit coming to 1 to green. And he might not even be able to pit because they're going to be, I'm trying to think here, they're going to be coming to 1 to green as they're facing... Yeah, they're going to be coming to 1 to green as soon as the stage ends. And
he looked like he wanted to pit there. I don't know. I mean, he's going to get the point. We're coming to 2 to green, I think, as you mentioned. So he'll be coming to 1 to green. Oh, you're right. This isn't quite as straightforward as we thought.
I think the thing is, I think he's going to get a penalty for it and have to serve it under green, unless they somehow clear it for that. But that's an iRacing thing where I don't think if you didn't pit on the initial opening of pit road, I don't think you're able to pit without getting a penalty. So I don't know how this is exactly going to work for Jeff. And even if he does come down to pit road and gets that penalty cleared, he might not even get the bonus points for being in first because the guys on the track pacing like Cabot and Bell might pass him before they even get to the line.
Lots of dramas here in the closing moments, the last 70 laps of the 2020 Outsider Racing League season. And we'll be coming to 1 to green this time by Jeff Wright. Stayed out. Again, their points difference between Jeff Wright and Bailey Turner coming into the night was 4 points. You get 5 points for leading at halfway, then 4 for finishing second at halfway, 3, 2, and 1. Bailey Turner's back at 11th. He will not get any halfway points. Jeff Wright, if he could clinch these 5, would have a 9-point advantage over Bailey Turner and thus almost have the championship on lock unless he crashes. He's going to stay out, though, and pit coming to the green flag. So he's going to get the points and hit pit lane as we take the restart. That's a really interesting call, but I think this might be the right long-term move here, Connor. The chances that we don't get another caution are fairly low. Now, the problem is if he finishes basically 19th or 18th or 17th, and Bailey Turner finishes top 2 or 3, I mean, Jeff can't really do anything about that.
Yeah, it's a big risk because if it does go green the entire way, he might be screwing himself out of a championship. And if he does, if the yellow comes out, he still hasn't officially won the championship. Things can still happen. It's a big risk. It is a big risk. Definitely a high reward, but that's a really huge call to make for Jeff.
Lots of strategy, and it's interesting. You know that he's paying attention to the strategy because he wouldn't have done that unless he knew exactly what the risks versus rewards are. But maybe hindsight will be 20/20 here. As we roll through turns 3 and 4, Jeff Wright on Tires that are 25 laps old. Will he take the green or peel off the pit lane? He's going to have to take the green. No, this is going to get messy here, folks. Green flag back in the air, lap number 72 of 140.
Got to be careful of that tire spin. It's really bad at a hot slip track like Atlanta. He's able to get away pretty cleanly, but once he gets into turns 1 and 2 here, he's going to really hold up this bottom line, and Cabot's likely going to get the race lead. But 48 stays strong on the bottom for now, but look at that.
Here they
tire
go.
wear really coming to play. Bell's going to go well below the white line to get that positioning. Cabot cleared of the lead. Stravato going for second. Car hard into the wall on the backstretch. Way in the back is 33. Stravato's into the wall. Car hard in the wall is Carwile. He wrecked really hard down the backstretch.
No caution, we stay green. This is getting really dicey out of turn 4. Stravato held up, he can't go anywhere. 4 wide on the front straightaway for a moment. Ryan Carwile back rolling on the back straightaway, so we'll stay green. Alex Bell all the way onto the apron on the back straightaway. That's fair play here. There is no out of bounds at Atlanta Motor Speedway. You can run from the wall to the wall if you feel like it. But Wright falling backwards very quickly. Bailey Turner up to 8th place now, entering turn 3. We've gotten away with it so far. Adam Cabot, the race leader.
Big loser out of that, other than Jeff Wright and Carwile, who wrecked, is going to be Stravato. He got big right side damage from hitting the wall going into turn 3. He's all the way back in about 10th position now, behind Eddie Trejo and Bailey Turner. So that restart is definitely not what he needed.
48 was hoping that he'd get a caution flag on that restart. They might get one as Bell goes for the race lead down the back straightaway. That was almost a crash between the two leaders as the 15 car is bringing the heat in his final race of the series.
He might as well go for everything. With everything he's got here, he's going to get to the outside of a 77 with Cabot, not able to lead this lap, but a big run in the turn number 1 as Brandon Bowers is going to look on and hope these two don't wreck in front of him. Hope he has somewhere to go as Bailey Turner, look how hard he is fighting to try to get to the front, and he's fighting for the 6th position of Bryce Calusa as Clifton Carpenter's just going to get right in behind him.
Alex Bell in his last race in Outsider Racing League competition. Again, making the retirement to focus on the real world. As he comes out of turn 4, battling for the lead, could he get his first win of the season here at Atlanta in the season finale in his last race? That would be a spectacular storyline, and he's fighting hard for it on the outside of 1 and 2.
77's going to get loose, drift up the track. Bell trying to hold it around the outside and get the run off of 2. Not able to clear him just yet. Cabot bringing him back, side drafting that left rear quarter panel.
Still side by side, Camaro versus Camry. Through 3 and 4, across the line, Bell led that lap by a nose. As he falls back behind, just by an inch. I think he's going to prevail here. He's inching his way forward. 77, big slide there, hands at work behind the wheel.
I'm paying attention to how hard that 24 is battling right now. He needs every position he get. Factoring in bonus points, I believe Wright pulled away to a 10-point lead, just factoring in bonus points and not race points. So he needs to finish 10 or 11 positions ahead of him to get that championship. If things ran how they were right now, Bell just cannot clear on his top line. 77 is side drafting like a pro right now.
He's trying, he's almost there, but just keeps getting held up on the front straightaway. And here comes the 77 again, fighting the inside, down the backstretch again. Look at the 24 and 20, as you mentioned in the background, they're still fighting for position. That is for 6th place, but for the race lead, still neck and neck. Neither driver can get an advantage. Oh, they're going to touch there out of turn 4, Cabot, sideways.
Kind of saw that coming. Bell finally went to pinch to 77. He tried everything he could, but he's still not able to get clear. Now Brandon Bowers, Michael Sturgel, and even Hayden Pastor is getting into a mix between these two. I don't think the 77 can fight back this time to 15, pinching him hard. The 77 drifting up. Bell finally clear for the race lead.
Great pass. Took a couple laps, but he got it done. Alex Bell in the top spot. And Cabot, Bowers, Sturgel, Pastorius rest of your top 5. There is the 24 and 20. This is the other battle that hasn't been able to fizzle just yet.
See, with Jeff Wright back in 15th right now, the way they run, that 24 would have to get up to the 4th position to win the championship, and he can't even get by Calusa. That 20 fighting really hard on that outside to keep that position. Bailey needs to get by him as quick as possible to try to get a run at Pastorius or Sturgel.
Cabot back to the race lead, but not for long. Here comes Bell, blocked by the 77. Bell goes back to the outside lane into turn 3. They're going to do it all over again.
Yeah, Bell just didn't get a good run out of turn 4 last time by, and Cabot was able to get back by as at 15, he looks stronger on the outside than the inside. That's kind of backwards, but he's able to make it work, so who cares? He's trying another run here to get the lead back as they're almost dead even in the turn 1.
It's got to be so frustrating. You feel like there's multiple grooves available to you, but there's no real advantage.
Wow.
They're just exactly the same. But look at the run he builds on the back straightaway here, Connor.
And he's got the push from Brandon Bowers down the backstretch as well as the 31. Gets in check on the bottom through the turns, but he gets back up high to help that 15. Keeping them side by side, wearing each other's tires out potentially. Might be a big move for Bowers, trying to wear both their tires out. As the 15's going to leave a hole in the middle. We'll see if Bowers takes it. He's just going to stay on the bottom.
Oh, Bowers had a look on the entry to turn 1. Not really anywhere to go yet, though. 5 cars all packed together through turns 1 and 2. This is going to hurt the 15, I think.
Oh, he's going to get very close to the wall. Sorry there, Cabot. Kind of took the nose off the 15. Took the air off the 15's nose, excuse me, as Bowers is going to move into that second position.
Bell was battling for the lead. He had it for a lap and now has started to fall back into the clutches of the rest of the pack here. Bailey Turner has finally cleared Bryce Calusa and is now looking forward to try to catch that top 5 as the 48 of Jeff Wright lingers 10 seconds back from the pack in 15th place.
My math is correct, which I feel like most of the time it is. That 24 has to get to the 4th position as it runs right now. And I think he's got a bit more pace than Pistorius on the long run, even maybe the 15 as well, but he's got to get up there first. That 30 airs is the worst enemy for sure. As Bowers, look at him hunting for the race lead, trying to get to the outside.
Yeah, he almost fenced his car on the back straightaway, making a right-hand turn out to the parking lot of the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Behind the 77 on the backstretch, just turned hard right. As the 77 went down on a defensive line, Bowers riding the apron through the middle of turns 1 and 2. Here's a push at the exit of the corner. Block again, all the way to the apron.
Gotta let him up here or else you're gonna get turned. You gotta be careful. He might turn him anyways. They slide way up the racetrack. Here comes Sturgel going for that second position there. Bowers almost made a big mistake. Cabot and the 31 of Bowers fighting so hard to this lead because they know it could be the race for the win.
Lap 85 of 140. Cabot, Bowers, Sturgel, Pistorius, and Bell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bowers throttles back up. He's been building really good runs here at the exit of 2, but Cabot's been defending so well, Bowers can't go anywhere with him.
Couldn't fight for much longer. He's all the way back to 5th now and falling to the clutches of the championship competitor, Bailey Turner. In the 15, you know he's going to fight Bailey hard, but the 24, I think, for once, is going to fight even harder than Bell is. He needs these positions.
Track position so hard to get after you get into a run. And now we're about 17 laps on this set of tires, and it's going to get increasingly difficult to make up any kind of ground. Pistorius sideways out of turn 2. Bell has a look here.
We see the top 3 kind of pulling away here as Corey Steinhauser gets out of everyone's way. Bailey Turner going for the dive on Bell for that 5th position. I believe that might tie him with Jeff Wright for the time being. And my guess is Wright has the tiebreaker. He's right in front of Matt Wagner right now, so Bailey Turner needs to get up likely into the top 3 if things go green. He needs to get to the top 3 to have any sort of big chance again this championship, as Bell's going to let him by and Calusa's going to dive right for that position.
Well, that's what Jeff Wright, 20 cars loose. Ow. That's what Jeff Wright has done, though, is the position he's put himself in. He's 15th right now. It's going to be hard to do much worse than that, even on bad tires. And he's basically got to tell Bailey Turner to go perform and also finish poorly himself. So if Jeff Wright can get back inside the top 10, there's nothing Bailey Turner can do, and that is a good position to be in if you're Jeff Wright, but he needs a caution flag to get him back on sequence with everybody else.
Yeah, if Wright got back into the top 10, Bailey would pretty much need to win the race to get the 3 bonus points for winning that race to have another big chance. But right now, as it stands, this is for the points lead this pass on Hayden Pistorius.
Here he comes for the points lead. Bailey Turner is through and into 4th place, and he is now leading the 2020 Outsider Racing League points at lap number 88. If he loses a single position or if Jeff Wright gains one, they'll be tied again.
And in my opinion, he's at least the 2nd fastest driver out of the top 10 right now. I think the only one who might have a beat is Cabot. I think he's better than Bowers and Sturgel. It's a really good run for Sturgel, and then I think he should be up in the 3rd right now, hanging with these guys. But I still think Bailey is the faster of those 2 right now up there. The 31 and the 90, I mean, if he can get up there, he can really give himself a good shot at this race.
Next time by will be 50 laps to go. We're getting closer to our fuel window. Do you pit early? Do you pit late? What do you do if you're Jeff Wright? Are you just waiting for that window to open and going now, or are you going to try to run it as long as you can and then try to make your last run as short as possible?
I honestly don't know how much longer he can go because he hasn't pit in a He has not pit in a long time.
44 laps to be exact.
Yeah, 40, very long time. And I don't know how much longer the fuel or the tires can go. He's really struggling. They only got Matt Wagner behind him. Everyone else is a lap down or more just off the racetrack. He's going to have to pit, and I think he's going to have to live with a short pit. With how early he's going to have to pit compared to everyone else, the tire strategies might be the same. I don't think you take 2 tires at a track like Atlanta, but if this goes green all the way, you might have to do that.
Well, he is only about 0.3 of a second slower than the leaders right now, even with tires that are 20 laps older. So the fall off does seem to sort of stop or at least reduce as the longer you go. So if Jeff Wright can pit this lap, this would basically split this into equal segments for him here. He'd have to run, maybe if he goes one more lap. So he might go one more, then split this into even 46, 47 lap segments to make it to the end of the race. It's not a terrible strategy, but I think he's put himself in a simultaneously great position and a terrible position at the same time, depending on how this race fluctuates from here on out.
Yeah, he's going to be kicking himself if he loses his championship because of that decision. Gutsy decision, high risk, high reward, but the risk is losing a championship. I think we saw a similar, in another race we covered with the finale at Atlanta, we saw a similar gutsy call for the championship where the guy in the points lead tried to stretch the fuel 50 laps, 5 laps longer than any of us anticipated those fuel tanks could go, but they ended up winning that championship. I don't know if this is more gutsy or less gutsy, but either way, it is a tough spot to put yourself in.
I've just been so impressed with the level of racing that we've seen today by drivers that are not involved in the championship. It has been very competitive at the front of this field. And while it is difficult to pass, getting yourself in position to pass doesn't seem that bad. It's just getting it complete is where the frustration sets in. Big moment for the 31. Michael Sturgel, how about him running in P3, Connor? He's had a really good day.
I would assume this is one of his best runs, if not the best run of the season for him. Hasn't ran most of the last few weeks, but he's been able to keep it up front since that first restart today, up into the 3rd position, able to keep a decent pace compared to Bailey Turner. 24 can't catch him that much right now. He's done a really swell job so far. He's got Case Lacatus trying to get up into the 7th position. Stravato fading a little bit with that right front damage.
.45 laps to go next time by. We're definitely within the realm of making it to the end on fuel. I would have thought we'd see a couple more drivers hit now and be done.
Oh boy. Oh, this could be the wreck. Stravato's getting blocked there by Lacatus, kind of shoves him up the track a little bit there, giving himself the bottom line. This could be exactly what Jeff Wright needs, a big sort of, not a rivalry, but aggressive racing going on here that could lead to tensions.
There's been a lot of that in the last couple weeks, that's for sure. A lot of dramas between lap cars and lead lap cars and teammates and non-teammates. And trust me, it's not something that is new to the Outsider Racing League, is all that excitement and intensity. Keeping things fresh to the very last moment. This is one of the closer championships we've seen in a while. Coming down to the wire here at a track that is very unpredictable at times. How about the weather? 127-degree track temps. You could cook an egg out there on the surface.
Probably take a while, but you can do it without a doubt. I remember them doing that in an experiment at Kentucky one time. That's besides the point. The real point is this championship battle is going to be very entertaining if this does go green. I think it will be a little harder for Bailey to get it if it does go green, but 24, I don't think he expected to be in this situation after what the 48 did, to be honest. The 48 looked a bit faster than him at times, pulled that strategy, put himself at the back of the pack. 48's actually, Corey Steinhauser almost spun out of turn 2. That could have been big, but the 48 actually just dropped another position to Matt Wagner, so put him back to 16th, and I think that should put Bailey Turner 2 points clear right now.
Yeah, Jeff Wright, here he comes to pit lane out of turn 4. He's going to slam onto the apron. 42 laps to go, make his pit stop. If he loses his championship, Connor, he beat himself. I mean, it's all been strategy. I think he was faster than Bailey Turner, at least at the start of this race. And if had he just run a conservative race, he probably would have won this. But he's cast some doubt on the off chance that he could build up a bit of a gap, and he has done. He built up that gap, but it's put him in a position where he can't utilize it, and he's going to overshoot his box as well.
Man. And this would be worst case scenario if the yellow came out before the leader's pit. I'm wondering if he takes 2 tires to keep some time. Only about 40 laps to go. He's going to take 4.
He's taking 4.
Yep, he's going to take 4 fresh ones. Has he gone a lap down? I honestly haven't checked. I think he's gone a lap down.
He has gone a lap.
He might even, I don't think he's going to go 2 laps down, but he went pretty darn close. He's going to have a lot of time to make up.
Well, he better get get on it and start utilizing those 4 fresh Mr. Feelgoods, because the rest of the field is coming. A 10th is the lead that Adam Cabot has over Brandon Bowers. Adam Cabot, again, not battling for the championship, even though he probably could have, given his point situation. Wow, look at the slide into turn 2. And here comes Bowers for the lead. A big block on the back straightaway. Bowers goes to the fence on the inside into turn 3.
He lifted big time. I don't think he's going to be as nice as 77 to Cabot if he catches him again. That's the first real run at the lead had in a long time, and Cabot just did that to him again. If he gets back to him, I think that's going to be the yellow Jeff Wright needs.
I think so. I think the patience might be running thin.
That being said, that wouldn't be good for Jeff Wright, because he'd have to take, well, I'd say he'd have to take the wave round. He's actually about to be the first car lap down. Ben Lafter was ahead of him for a time, but right there, Wright's going by, and that he is now the first driver to warm up down. But I would be surprised if the yellows for Cabot getting turned, because those blocks aren't going to last forever.
There's a lot of people writing favors right now to the front and rear bumpers. And, you know, there's people taking notes, and those notes are going to get cashed in on a little bit later tonight. Lap 102 of 140, 39 laps to go. The last 20 minutes of action here in the Outsider Racing League for 2020. Again, we'll start up our season on February 13th at Daytona, continuing with the NASCAR Cup car for the 2021 season. If you'd like to learn how to join this series, you can visit our Discord. In the link in the description, AJ Stravato hits pit lane, Connor.
Yeah, go to that Discord if you want information on any leagues we are doing. But yeah, Stravato, the second driver to hit pit lane, he's going to try to get a bit of an undercut on the rest of the field, get his track position back to see what he can do compared to the 77 and the 31 and those guys up there. I'm a little bit surprised Bailey Turner wasn't able to get to those top 3. He used his tires up battling with the 20 of Halusa, I would have to guess here, because he hasn't been really faster than specifically the 90 of Sturgel. In fact, he lost a 10th last time by him.
One more pit stop remaining for the front runners. Here comes Sturgel around the outside of Bowers. Cabot liking seeing this in the mirror. No other takers on pit lane this time by.
And the longer these guys go, in my opinion, I think it's worse for Jeff Wright, because we don't even think about, even if he does get some positions, if it still goes green to the end, he's going to have to play a lot of defense to have any shot at Bailey Turner if it does somehow go green to the very end. He's going to have to make that car as wide as probably 8 lanes, including the lanes below that white line down the backstretch.
Here comes Bowers in the 31 out of turn 4. He's going to peel on down. Is he going to make it?
Oh, no way. No way he's going to make that. If he made it, that is a miracle, because he hit the cone and everything. I think hitting the cone's a no-no in itself. That could be a position for Jeff Wright. I
think, yeah, that's crucial. I think you can nick the cone. We saw that at Daytona, the Fuel Racing League last week, but I think hanging the right rear out in the grass is a no-no. He's also going to overshoot the box. Just bad to worse for the 31. 35 to go, splitting this run in half for most of the drivers around here. Here they come.
Here comes Cabot. Michael Sturgis going to follow him. Bryce Calusa, Alex Bell, as Bailey Turner's going to assume the race lead. I believe he already has led laps. And he's going to get those. He's going to get the. No, he hasn't. I don't believe.
Yeah,
so
he's first lap led.
So that's 1 bonus point, and that is even more crucial to the championship race.
Well, that was, he just made up that point that he would have lost if Bowers gets passed by Jeff Wright, which is what has just happened. Bowers still on pit lane, serving the penalty that he got for an unsafe pit entry. So Jeff Wright will grab a position, but it's negated by Bailey Turner leading a lap as Turner hits pit lane here. Now, who has led the most laps so far tonight? Probably Adam Cabot as the 24 slows on down.
I think it's either Cabot or Jeff Wright. I think Stravato led a decent amount, but I don't know. Cabot might have had him. He led for a long time there, and he might even lead to the very end here.
Yeah, 29 laps to the 48's 19, of which Jeff Wright will likely lead no more. Cabot will get back out on here on the racetrack, and he should cycle.
Whoa. That Wagner at the exit, their entrance of pit road, Wagner missed the pit entrance. He didn't cause the yellow, though, which is big. We stayed green, but he made a big mistake somewhere.
Oh, yeah, just got loose and hit the fence on the entrance to pit lane. That's going to hurt even more than the 31s did, and he will pull on down to pit lane.
I can't believe that wasn't a yellow. Spun on the track and everything. A big break for everyone but Jeff Wright.
Yeah, Bailey Turner back out on the racetrack now. Oh, don't get too wide there. That was really dicey. Can't go above that white line until you exit turn 2.
Can't lose too much time there. He's got to get the track position he can get here to the very end. He's got to stay, at this point, 9 positions, probably still 10 positions ahead of 48 because of tiebreakers and whatnot. It's Casey Lacatus who assumed the race lead. He's going to come down on the pit lane as Eddie Trejo is going to take over the lead for the time being.
A little hot there for Lacatus as well. Trejo across the line, leads the lap. Hayden Pistorius behind him on the same strategy, so is RJ Root. Joshua Banks, last driver out there that is still on 40-lap old tires. That's a big slide for Pistorius. He gathers it back up. Here comes middle 3 wide. That, of course, is the 90 of Sturgel.
Getting his lap back as well, so that should put Bryce Calusa as the lucky dog spot right now. If the yellow came out now, it would be big-time trouble for the 48, but it'd also be bad for the 24 because he would also be trapped as well. Eddie Trejo's going to come down, rescind the lead to Hayden Pistorius now, and come down and hit.
So Cabot should cycle to be the race leader by about a half a second over AJ Stravato. And talking about AJ Stravato, remember he came into the night after just hemorrhaging positions the last couple of rounds. He's 21 back coming into the night. The last 2 races for him. He won at Dover, but it was a 19th at Iowa that really sealed the deal here and put him back. He probably would be looking at being the champion tonight had it not been for Iowa last week, of which there was so much drama.
Yeah, he's really only the second bad race he's had all season. It's one that pretty much cost him the championship, unless something drastic happens here. My goodness, that was getting really close. Pretty friendly there on the rear bumper with the 20 into 24 there.
I think Bryce Calusa almost didn't cut Bailey Turner a break. That might have meant that Bailey Turner got real comfortable with the outside wall here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Other drivers hit pit lane. Hayden Pistorius, the last holdout here, hoping for a caution perhaps at the front of the field.
Yeah, a few people still, only a couple people holding out for yellow. Actually, no, it is only Pistorius. RJ Root just came down the pit road last time by. Adam Cabot in line to retake the lead, but he's got Michael Sturgel over the rear bumper. Only those 2 left after Bauer's mistake, as Bailey Turner is likely going to cycle out into the 3rd position.
Well, look where Jeff Wright is. He's currently 9th. Now, how many positions does he need to slide backwards for Bailey Turner to get back in the points lead? I think as it stands, Wright will actually be back out in front by a point or 2.
If Bailey does finish 3rd, Jeff Wright has to finish 12th or better. And right now, that's going to be very close because he's got drivers behind him that are on fresher tires, especially Case Lakatos actually just passed him. Clifton Cockrell's got fresher tires. He's about a second faster. And then he got Eddie Trejo, RJ Root just coming off the pit road, but it's mainly Joshua Banks who'd be the next one in line. But like I said, that 48's going to have to play a lot of defense if this goes green.
So Jeff Wright will have to finish 12th or better to win this championship. Oh, big slide up, and he's already losing some tire grip. Here comes Cockrell. He cannot lose more than 2 more positions.
That's if Bailey Turner finishes 3rd. It all depends on where Bailey finishes as well. As right now, Bailey's actually in the 4th position, so it would have to be 14th, I believe, for Jeff Wright. But that's guessing Stravato stays ahead of Bailey Turner. And
which he will not.
Big undercut, with that big undercut, not even going to come close as Bailey Turner back into the same situation we were in.
Hayden Pistorius has been out on the racetrack for 45 laps, and I would expect him to come hit pit lane. He's going to move over that time. Looked like he almost wanted to come, but didn't.
We have Eddie Trejo even in the chat trying to wonder what the points are. If only you were tuned into the race. No.
Back straightaway, Bryce Calusa, Stravato, Alex Bell. Bell moving back towards the top 5 after leading a couple laps earlier in this race. Jeff Wright has a 2-second lead over Eddie Trejo and a 5-second lead over Caleb Weekly, and 4 more seconds back to Joshua Banks.
I wouldn't be surprised if he lost the positions to Trejo and Banks. We'll see if Weekly gets to him. He struggles on the long run at the very end here. Yeah, it's gonna be big. And on top of all that, I don't know if Bailey Turner can get to Sturgel in time unless something happens between those 2. And he's still got to fend off the 20 of Bryce Calusa. Alex Bell's there as well. It's still going to be tough for Bailey Turner. 48 is going to be right on the edge of this championship.
Speaking of Sturgel, this is a battle for the race lead. These guys are on the same strategy. Michael Sturgel's having a phenomenal day and pressuring Cabot for the top spot here.
This is definitely the race of the season for him. If he can cap this season off with a win out of nowhere, that would be huge going into next season if he does choose to run as another position lost for the 48. Eddie Trejo does go by for the 10th position, so Jeff Wright can't lose 2 more positions.
23 laps to hang on. Across the line now, Cabot and Sturgel. Pistorius is still out there. 48 laps into a run, just praying for a caution flag, but unlikely. We've only had a handful so far.
Yeah, it's really kind of surprised we've gone this long without a yellow. We had a few mini incidents, but pretty much other than that, it's been pretty smooth sailing. The top 2, other than the championship battle, we're going to have a nice battle for the win as well. Let's see Adam Cabot having a real good time, really hard time defending that 90 right now. drifting off the bottom every little bit, each and every turn, but the 90 just can't capitalize.
Laps counting down now, 22 laps to go next time by. Sturgel's got a really good run here at the exit of turn 2. That's where Cabot's been weak all night tonight, but he's been able to get defensive here. See, move to the left. Sturgel sitting about 2 car lengths behind, still keeping an eye on this front fight. Jeff Wright, though, 4 seconds out ahead of Caleb Weekly, but running a half a second slower, which means that it'll take about 8 laps for Caleb Weekly to get there. Hayden Pistorius hits pit lane, turns the lead over to Cabot and Sturgel.
We'll see if maybe the 48 gets that position for Pistorius as well. The 69, excuse me, might have to pass him back. Caleb Weekly's a little bit faster, and Joshua Banks is a bit faster than both of them combined. So with almost close to 20 laps to go, this is really going to come down to the wires. Wright's going to get that position from Pistorius, but Pistorius, with 20 laps to go, is going to have much fresher tires.
Well, also, Bailey Turner got that position from Hayden Pistorius, so it's not much of a gain there for Wright at all. Caleb Weekly closes another full second. Joshua Banks does as well. Jeff Wright is now 6/10 slower than Weekly and Banks. Again, if he loses these positions, this is not going to be what he needs for this championship. 20 laps to go next time by. Cabot and Sturgel fighting for the lead. Bailey Turner fighting for a championship. Coming in 4 down. The 48 car stayed out at halfway, grabbed 5 bonus points, which meant that Bailey Turner had to make up 10, and he's doing that right now.
And the 69 just got called for too many pit stalls on exit right now. So that's likely another position that Jeff Wright's going to scrape away with here at the very end.
That will make Hayden Pistorius come back down to pit lane. I don't think Bailey Turner needed Pistorius to pass Jeff Wright if Weekly and Banks both do it. But that'll likely be the only drivers that'll do it.
Well, I don't know who has a tiebreaker over each other. I feel like Jeff Wright might. I don't know if it goes down to wins or what, but I'm pretty sure Jeff Wright has.
Jeff Wright does have 3 wins to Bailey Turner's 2.
And right now they're separated by 9 points, just factoring in bonus points. If Bailey finished 3rd and Jeff only finished 12th, they'd be tied, and I think Wright would have the tiebreaker. So that Pistorius getting that penalty could be huge.
Oh man. Will we stay green to the end as well? I assume we will. There's not a lot going on around the racetrack.
The one thing Bailey Turner needs is those 2 to fight really hard for the race lead, and if he can get up there and maybe get the 2nd, heck, even get to the race win, get those 3 bonus points, that could be the championship right there.
Well, if he wins the race, I mean, if Jeff Wright doesn't get any more spots and Turner wins this race, I think it's game over for Jeff Wright, but that's a tall order, 2.5 seconds to make up. He was a 10th quicker last time, Connor, but you're going to have to be faster than a 10th quicker if you're going to run up there and pass these guys for position with only 17 laps to go.
He's got to pace himself a little bit here. These 2 are still going to fight hard for the race win to the very end of this one. Sturgel's not going to let up. You know Cabot's not going to let up. These 2 get side by side for 2 or 3 laps. That could be the 24's chance.
Well, does Sturgel know that? Will he pull punches?
Sorry, Caleb Weekly almost spun out of turn number 2. He's losing time to Jeff Wright that time by. Now it's going to be Banks getting that 11th position. He'll be the next in line to pass the 48. Weekly struggling right now. He ran a 32.2 last time by, slower than Jeff Wright.
Bailey Turner is the biggest Caleb Weekly fan there is right now and needs both those cars to pass Jeff Wright, Banks and Weekly, and needs to pass one of these cars. 16 laps to go.
Yeah, he's going to need a lot of help with those drivers struggling to get to the 48. Wondering if the tires are going to last. I'd assume they're going to last here. It didn't seem like they lasted a long time for that 48. Trying to see how long someone like Adam Cabot went on his tires. He went about, I would say, about only 30-something laps, but that was really just to split the lane up, split the run up in half. So I think the 48 should be fine to the very end. It's just a matter of keeping people behind him now.
Well, if he can keep Caleb Weekly behind him, it doesn't really matter. Casey Lacanis, AJ Stravato trading spots. Move the 50 car up to 6th. Good runs for both the Sim Motorsports cars, 5th and 6th right now for those 2. Turner has been unable to make any more progress on those front 2. So if Jeff Wright finishes where he is, he would be the champion.
Just barely. In a very shocking manner to win a championship, risking pretty much everything for halfway points. That'd be a heck of a way to win a championship.
This is so interesting to me because I think this is so close, and I don't think it would have been this close had he not stayed out and trying to get those bonus points. So it's almost like he took a huge risk and put himself in a deeper hole while also benefiting by the efforts of that risk. It's so backwards to me, Connor. I mean, if he had played this more conservatively, he wouldn't have had to be so close to Bailey Turner, and he'd probably be running up closer to the front, but he's put himself back here and also gotten the points, so it's sort of a win and a loss at the same time.
Well, it's definitely not a loss of any sort if he does hold on to win his championship, but there's really no middle ground. There's no 50-50 win-loss ratio happening here. It's either straight win or straight loss. He put himself right on that nice edge to do either one right now. He's 3 positions of a good right now. Bailey Turner would pretty much have to pull off something miraculous, have those two get into each other of some sort and get the race win. Otherwise, I don't know if the 48's going to drop back anymore.
12 laps to go this time by Cabot. Sturgel the front two. 2.3 back to Bailey Turner, then Bryce Calusa a second back from the 24. And Jeff Wright right now holding serve in 10th place. Joshua Banks 2.8 back and closing, but only by 0.2 a lap. Caleb Weekly not gaining time on Jeff Wright.
Caleb Weekly is likely not going to get to Jeff Wright. Banks might not even get to him either. Not gaining on him too much either. He didn't even gain anything on him that time. So I think Jeff Wright's set in stone to get that 10th position. I don't know how he's even going to get a top 10 out of all this after that, but he's fought his way back into the top 10. Nick Trejo about 7 seconds up the road in 9th. So if things keep going the way they are, I think he might be a champion. I think either way, it's going to be tough for him to not win a championship. Even if a yellow comes out, it gets him back up into the front, possibly.
If Jeff Wright finishes where he is, I think the only way that Bailey Turner wins his championship is by winning the race, and he's not making the progress he needs to get up there. He's still 2.3 back. He's actually lost a 10th and a half since the last time we talked about it. He's got 10 laps. He has 15 miles to gain 2.5 seconds to run up there and take the lead away from Cabot and Sturgel. I don't see that as likely, and it's also similarly unlikely that Jeff Wright will lose any more positions. So Turner's in a hard spot right now, and I don't think he expected to be in this spot given things that have happened, but Sturgel still hunting down Cabot for the race lead here.
Sooner or later he's going to get close to Cabot's bumper, and I wouldn't say hit him, but try to get him loose out of one of these corners. We've seen Cabot struggle, especially at a turn 2. If he can get his nose right to the rear bumper in the middle of 1 and 2 and get that 77 loose, that could be his opportunity. It could also be Bailey Turner's opportunity for them to wreck and him to get the lead, but no one's wishing that on anyone, but I don't know how else the 24 can win this championship.
Well, and even if they do take each other out, if the 48 car also passes them, that goes away. The only advantage Bailey Turner would have is in those bonus points, which might make up the difference. But the math doesn't work out in a safe way for anybody right now.
No, it doesn't. It's going to take something big right now. We're coming to, I believe, 8 laps of racing to go. Sturgel's trying everything he can to get that 77, trying to get any sort of air on the nose, but he's lost a little bit of time to that 77. Time's running out.
Into turn 1, they're still nose to tail. Sturgel's probably tried everything. They ran exactly the same lap time last time by, a 31.991 for both of them. Goes to show you how even they are right now. Down to the 1,000th of a second, exactly the same.
It's very even. That shows me that maybe that 90's a little bit faster, but that 30 is just hindering him really badly. Loses a little bit more time on the 77 that time by. I don't think they'll be identical this time. About 400th lost there. Next time by will be 6 laps of racing to go. 90's got to find something or else he's going to be done.
A lot of marbles up there on the high side of the racetrack as well, so you can't drift too far out of your lane. Bailey Turner continues to slip down just a little bit, 2.5 seconds now, 2.6 back from the race leader. 6 laps to go from Atlanta.
Cabot's driving the wheels off of it, still hanging that right rear out as much as he can. The 90 gets a bit of a rub with that draft down the front straightaway. Once again, identical laps from these two as the 90 gets the run into turn 1.
32.052 to a 32.051. Sturgel was 1,000th quicker.
Might have found something in that dirty air. Look at the run all the way back to the rear bumper again. Maybe he was saving something for one last gasp of a dash for that race win as Cabot pins it to the white line. The 90 misses it a little bit and loses a little bit of that time back.
It's just so hard to get any sort of downforce on the nose of these cars, following directly behind, but there's not really any other place to go. Maybe if he could step out of line a little bit, but then Cabot will just mirror drive him and keep him. You see him doing that right there, moving a half a lane up to keep the 90 car out of the air.
Loose.
Oh,
He's
big
way
slide.
loose,
yeah, couldn't get the grip there.
That might have worked if he had the grip, but that right rear just not cooperating with him. Didn't lose too much time, not over quite yet. 4 laps to go next time by. He's got to try to do that without getting loose. The 77 got sideways as well. His real problem's 3 and 4. He just can't keep the car on the white line. If he can do what he did in 1 and 2 again and duplicate that for the last 4 laps, he still might have a shot.
4 laps to go. 6 miles of racing in the 2020 Outsider Racing League season. We'll kick things off again February 13th at Daytona. Adam Cabot, Michael Sturgel with a spectacular drive. This will be his best ever finish in the Outsider Racing League. Adam Cabot would add on to a couple of victories this season. 3 wins so far, 1 at Iowa a week ago, 1 at Kentucky, and 1 all the way back at Road America. 3 laps to go now for Adam Cabot.
Once again, that 90 was faster than that 77. Drives hard through the center of 1 and 2. He sort of sustained it that time there, closer and closer to the 77, but 3 and 4 has been his problem every single lap. Just can't hold the bottom. He looks low, goes a bit higher, trying to get any sort of air he can, but just cannot get through 3 and 4 well.
A pair of laps remaining at Atlanta. Cross the line, Cabot, Sturgel, Turner, Calusa, and Alex Bell making his last start in the Outsider Racing League, citing an increased importance on the real world. Some exciting life changes coming for Alex Bell in the coming months, so glad to see him expanding that opportunity. But he will likely come home with a top 5 in his final race in the Outsider Racing League. For the top spot, though, Sturgel, 2 car lengths away, but he cannot get there. White flag one more time around Atlanta.
Had a really good run through 1 and 2, but once again, lost that time in 3 and 4. He's going to have one final shot to make something happen.
Out front, the battle for the lead has been stagnant for a couple laps. What has not been stagnant is the battle for the championship. Bailey Turner and Jeff Wright, AJ Stravato in recent weeks, all exchanging the points lead. As it stands, Jeff Wright unofficially would be your 2020 Outsider Racing League championship holder. We will verify that shortly, but Adam Cabot, for the 4th time this season, comes out at turn 4. Season finale winner, Adam Cabot, 77 Camaro, wins the race at Atlanta. Sturgel, 2nd, career best. Bailey Turner comes home 3rd, and unfortunately will likely be the runner-up in the championship. Calusa, 4th. Alex Bell, his last race, finishes top 5. Casey Licatis, 6th. AJ Stravato, a disappointing end of the season. 19th at Iowa, a 7th place tonight. Eddie Trejo, Cockrell, and Jeff Wright comes home in 10th. Unofficially, your 2020 season champion. We will verify when we know the official numbers, but it was close.
It was close indeed. I think it might have been, I think it was by 2 points unofficially. We'll have to wait and see, but a gutsy championship win for Jeff Wright without a doubt. Huge risk taking those halfway points instead of just going straight up with Bailey Turner, but unofficially it worked out in his favor.
77 of Cabot coming to the start-finish line, getting a congratulatory bump from the 50 of Casey Licatis. Jeff Wright on the back straightaway, meeting up with the 24. It was an epic battle between these two. I don't know what they know.
I really don't think they know either. But like I said, unofficially 2 points. So either way, a great season from both of them. Bailey Turner started off this season very rough, but the 24, he tried everything he could. He ran as well as he could, just couldn't chase down his 2 at the very end. The 48 got enough positions to unofficially, I believe he was able to get it, just going off my math. But either way, great season by both these drivers.
Well, as he rolls through turn 4, celebrations at the start-finish line for Adam Cabot. The 48 car will join him on the front straightaway. The 24 car pulls off the racetrack. That all but confirms Jeff Wright as the 2020 champion.
Doing some bowling in celebration.
I guess so. Jeff Wright's season, this is a remarkable comeback for a driver that had struggled in recent seasons. This year, struggle no more. 3 wins, 9 top 5s, 12 top 10s. In the last couple runs of this season, a 1st, a 5th, and a 5th. Sonoma, Dover, and Iowa setting him up for this run to the championship. 1st back at Chicagoland, 1st at Michigan, and a championship for the 48. Here's a look at your race results for the season finale of the Outsider Racing League from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Again, it was Adam Cabot, Michael Sturgel, Bailey Turner, Bryce Calusa, Alex Bell, your top 5. Then Licata Stravato, Trey Hill, Cockrell, and Jeff Wright, your ultimate season champion. Rounding out the rest of the top 10. Joshua Banks, Caleb Weekly, Pistorius, Bowers, and RJ Root, your top 15. Rookie of the Year, Jonathan Hernandez, finishes in 20th. Jeremy Miller, crash early, means that he finished back in 21st position, but at the end of the night, it's all about this guy right here.
Right here, no pun intended. I'm sure he's going to do that victory lap, Polish victory lap, like he definitely deserves to. Going at a higher speed than you'd usually do it, but he can do whatever he wants. He's a champion, whether anyone likes it or not. That Jeff Wright, that 48 machine was strong all year, and he showed it through adversity tonight.
Well, it was certainly an unorthodox strategy. Trying to do the NOS Energy knocking the bottle off the concrete sort of deal there. They'll go one more slide through the infield here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Let's now talk to Bailey Turner, who came home just shy of the 2020 season championship, just shy in the race as well. Bailey, third place in the race, second in the championship by 2 points. An unorthodox strategy by Jeff Wright. You were kind of on different strategies all night long. Take us through not only your night, but the run to a second in the championship this year.
Yeah, I just had to be on a different strategy there than Jeff. At the first run of the race, I saw them using up their tires, and I was saving, and then once he got past AJ, which we were both surprised because AJ had the bottom lane and I'd been in the first lane the whole time, he started to pull, and I was faster than AJ. I just kept getting caught up in the dirty air and couldn't do anything, so I knew I had to try something, so I went to go with an unorthodox pit strategy and just hope I could get that track position for the halfway points and make up some points there, and then hope for a caution. But Jeff was smart and just basically went down the very next lap and kind of canceled that out for me, and then I got stuck behind traffic, and then the caution came out, and once the caution came out, and he got the lucky dog. I was waiting to get the wave around. I honestly was like, oh well, there goes my chance. I'm gonna have to hope for another wreck, and the wreck happened, and then I was like, okay, we're coming to the halfway points. I'm gonna do the exact opposite whatever Jeff does here. And he stayed out, and he collected the points, but ended up hurting him on the long run. And on that last pit stop, I think I just lost a little bit too much time. I couldn't get. If I would have stayed in the wake of Sturgel and Cabot, I think I would have caught them. I had a little better tires, but they were just too far ahead, and they were drafting and working together there for so much of that run that I couldn't make up the time by myself. So just want to say congrats to Jeff. I mean, he earned it. That was a pretty fun little points battle we had there between me and AJ and him, and happy for our team, Sad Boys. I think we got the team championship and everything like that. Adam, I know, collected a ton of money tonight, so it's been pretty great. And I'm pursuing my doctorate this next year, so I'm gonna be going to part-time. So just happy I can go out with a pretty solid points finish there.
Well, a solid night to say the least. Bailey, congratulations. It was a good run. Hopefully we'll see you back in some capacity in the future, but congratulations and thanks for talking to us tonight.
Thanks, and congrats, Jeff.
Move on now to Adam Cabot in the number 77. Ka-ching, ka-ching in the number 77 with the green numbers on the side of the car means that you've collected an extra cash bonus tonight on top of your 4th win of the season. Adam, no championship tonight for you, but that's got to still feel pretty darn good.
Yeah, it definitely does. First off, congrats to Jeff on getting that championship. It was really cool to have 3 of my teammates all battling for that championship there. But yeah, actually the plan was for me to crew chief and spot for Bailey Turner tonight. And then when I found out how much money was on the table, I'm like, you know what? I got to give one last shot at getting that win. So pretty cool to go out and get it done. But I got to say, it definitely was not easy. That might have been the hardest I've had to work to get one of these wins. It seemed like for everyone else, once they got in clean air, they kind of just took off and the car drove so much better. But I don't know what I was doing out there, because when I was in clean air, I was just completely out of control, and Sturgel made a good run there at the end, but certainly had to work for it. I kind of felt bad. I was, throwing massive blocks all race, but it was pretty much impossible to pass the leader after about 5 or 6 laps, so I think that is probably why you saw so much aggression after those restarts.
Well, this season was a pretty spectacular one for you, not really running for points. Can we expect to see you running for points next season, or is it still a part-time effort for 2021?
I will be running for points next year, so I'm probably still not going to make every single race, but I'm definitely going to give a go at making the chase and if I do make that chase, then I'm definitely going to try to get a championship run going. So definitely, best possible way I could end off the part-time season and hopefully build some momentum going into next year.
Well, congratulations, Adam, on your 4th win of the 2020 Outsider Racing League season. We'll see you in Daytona in February. Thanks for talking.
All right, sounds good. Thanks for the broadcast.
Thank you. Moving on now to Michael Sturgel, who came home in 2nd place tonight in the number 90 Chevrolet Camaro. Michael, a spectacular race for you tonight, battling Adam Cabot all the way to the end. Needed 3/10 more to catch that 77. What'd you need those final couple laps?
Better tires, honestly. I tried to, I was able, before the last pit stop, I was able to pass Brandon on the high side on older tires. So instead of battling Adam right after we came out, I figured I'd just kind of ride and save and then really fight him at the end. But that clean air, he was able to save a lot better than I was.
Well, talking about, we were talking with Adam Cabot, who ran a part-time season. Can we expect to see you back in a full-time capacity next year? And is a championship on the horizon for you, especially with a strong ending to this season?
Yeah, this was actually, well, the last 2 races I think I've run in this league have ended up, I think, both top 3. I know for a while I was getting involved in a lot of wrecks and stuff, so, kind of bums you out. You don't want to race, but with these 2 good finishes, I might be looking to come back and run a lot more, if not full-time.
Well, it was a great run for you tonight, 12th to 2nd. Michael, congratulations. We'll see you at Daytona in February.
Sounds good. See you then.
We'll see you. Talking now with our 2020 Outsider Racing League champion, Jeff Wright, the number 48. That was about the most roundabout way I've ever seen anyone win a championship, but Jeff, to you, that was the right way, coming home with a championship after a couple seasons that were less than remarkable. This has got to feel like overcoming something unbelievable, Jeff, and only by 2 points at the end over the 24. Take us through your season and that final race and the chances you took to get it.
Wow, yeah, first of all, what a crazy race. I mean, we want to go out there, you want to race for a win, but in a situation like the points where it was, me versus Bailey, I know some other guys were technically eligible, but pretty much we had to wreck out unless for one of us not to win the championship. So the first pit stop, I just basically, me and my spotter crew chief Reggie, we were just waiting for whenever Bailey Turner was going to go down. That's when we were going to go down, because we couldn't risk anything. And then, a caution falls, and then, we're a lap down, and, we're both a lap down. So it kind of shook up the race. It was, this is probably the, strangest race I've ever ran, staying out when normally you would never stay out, trying to just point your way through it, get those halfway points. But, it was enough. I credit Reggie Ortega making the call to get those bonus points. The decision was kind of tough. We weren't sure if we should do that or not. Ideally, we're hoping that we could stay out initially, get the points, and then also have time to come down and take some tires and then just restart the end of the field, because I thought we could probably drive through the field again and maybe get up to the top 5. And because we were leading at one point, and I felt like we were pretty competitive. But yeah, it was crazy. I hope it was entertaining for you guys in the broadcast booth. But yeah, I was sweating bullets. I didn't know the points situation, so it was a big relief when I saw Brian Chambliss, league admin, post that we were the 2020 champ.
Well, it was a little closer than maybe you wanted it to be, especially after grabbing those points. But, Jeff, congratulations. A phenomenal drive tonight to hold on to the points lead and come home as the championship winner. Congratulations, and hopefully we'll see you again here at Daytona in a couple weeks.
Thanks, Kyle. And I just got to say a quick shout out to you guys as well in the broadcast booth. You, Finian, Connor, Liam, Shin, you guys did a great job all season long. It's so fun to go back and watch these broadcasts. You guys really put on a great show. And then just big thanks to the league admins as well. Brian Chambliss, David Mott Jr., Andrew Telganoff. They put a lot of time and money into this league. So I just want to show my appreciation that they can put this events on for us week in and week out. It's a lot of fun.
Well, thanks so much, Jeff. I appreciate it. Have a great night and enjoy the championship. Hopefully we'll see you again.
Thanks, will do.
Connor, final thoughts. The 2020 Outsider Racing League Championship is over, but we aren't too far away from the new season in Daytona in February. Your thoughts on the championship here and how we're going to kick it back off again in a few weeks.
I wish we didn't have a break. I mean, obviously we need a break, but who knows? We wish we could just go up Saturday back to Daytona, because I'd love to see more of this. It's such a fun league. Great racing everywhere around the field, and it's always a good battle down to the wire for a championship, no matter what season it is. It's always been great racing in this series. When I'm racing in it, when I'm commentating it, when I'm just watching it for fun, it's always a blast. Being up here, whether it's with you or on my own, it's just a blast to watch these guys go at it. Guys like Stravato, Jeff Wright, all these guys, Adam Cabot, everyone who's been a part of it, Alex Bell, his final race. Really looking forward to what his future holds, and it's just been a really fun time. This season's been great. I'm glad to be along the ride for the majority of the season with you. In the championship race, it was definitely drama filled. We saw some questionable decisions. We saw some mini wrecks. We saw some big wrecks, and we saw a champion be crowned here in Hampton, Georgia, just like old times in a way. And Jeff Wright definitely a deserving champion. It was fun to watch. Maybe he can go back to back next season.
We will see you on February 13th for the first round of the next season here for the Outsider Racing League. I'm Kyle Heyer with Connor Horn. We'll see you next time.